fetches him away as a flood carries off a sleeping village. Death overcomes him when, with distracted mind and thirsty senses, he gathers flowers. He will never have his fill of the pleasures of the world. The bee gathers nectar. Follow the awakened, and from among the blind, the light of your wisdom will shine out purely. How long the road to the weary traveler? How long the wandering of many lives to the fool who misses the way? If the traveler cannot find master or friend to go with him, let him travel on alone rather than with a fool for company. My children, my wealth, so the fool troubles himself. But how has he children or wealth? He is not even his own master. The fool, who knows he is a fool, is that much wiser. The fool who thinks he is wise is a fool indeed. Does the spoon taste the soup? If you are awake in the presence of a master, one moment will show you the way. The fool is his own enemy. The mischief he does is his undoing. How bitterly he suffers. Why do what you will? Still, he is not worth a penny beside the master whose food is the way. Fresh milk takes time to sour. Whatever a fool learns, it only makes him duller. Knowledge cleaves his head, but then he wants, look to me for direction. Such are his desires, such is his swelling pride. One way leads to wealth and fame, the other to the end of the way. Look not for recognition, but follow the awakened, and set yourself free.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or any other type of blood cancer makes people want more time.
Okay, this is going to be my meditation. I have a very special book called India's Love Lyrics by Nicholson. This is love hypnosis. I hope you enjoy. These are poems and verses. And I'm going to create clips on YouTube. I'm going to create 10. This will be a 30-minute reading or more, about an hour's worth. I'll read you a little something about this. Copyright. Contents are less than dust to the unattainable in the early pearly morning. Reverie of Muhammad Akram at the Tamarind Tank. Song of Khan Zada. The Teak Forest. Valgovin's Boat Song. Kashmiri Song by Juma. Zero in Captivity Marriage Thoughts by Morsel and Khan to the Unattainable. Let's see what else is there. There's a lot. Youth, Farewell, A Fruity Love. These are all poems. No Rival Like the Past. Verse by Taj Muhammad, The Singer, Malaria, Fancy Feroza, Starlight. India's Love Lyrics. Somebody's wishing me a little birthday. One sec. Sorry. The challenge of doing recording all this stuff is distractions. But anyways, the most annoying part is you have all these stupid YouTube videos public because they get saved as private when you create a clip. I'm not so sure I want to read this book right now.
Follow him, follow the way. Let him chasten and teach you and keep you from mischief. The world may hate him. The butcher whittles his arrows, and the carpenter turns his wood. So the wise man directs his mind. The wind cannot shake a mountain.
Okay, this is what we're going to read. These are Buddhist writings with an introductory note. These are sacred writings, Harvard Press. This is the introductory note. This will be the first recording. Siddhartha Gautama, known as Buddha to asceticism and concentration of thought, under the direction of masters of this discipline. After 7 years, he concluded that this method brought him no nearer to the wisdom he sought as a means of escaping rebirth into a life which he had found not worth living, and for a time he tried starvation and self-torture. This also availed him nothing, when suddenly, sitting under the sacred fig tree at Bodhi Gaya, he became illumined and saw the great truths. Henceforth he was known as Buddha. Gautama's first aim had been merely his own salvation, but moved by pity for mankind, he resolved to bestow on others the four great truths and the eightfold path. Beginning his ministry at Benares, he converted first 5 monks who had previously been his fellows in asceticism, then many of the noble youth of the city, then 1,000 Brahmin priests. The rest of his life was spent in wandering about and preaching his new creed, which spread with extraordinary rapidity. He died not far from his native region about the year 477 BC. The foregoing outline selects what seem the most reliable main elements in a biography which has naturally become saturated with legend of latter growth, the teachings of Buddha, so similar in its pessimistic view of life to that of the Book of Ecclesiastes, is amply represented in the following writings. Om. The Buddha, the story of Sumedha, translated from the introduction to the Jataka. 100,000 cycles vast and 4 immensities ago, there was a town named Amara, a place of beauty and delights. It had the noises 10 complete, and food and drink abundantly. The noise of elephant and horse, of conch shell, drum, and chariot, and invitations to partake. Eat ye and drink resounded loud. A town complete in all its parts, where every industry was found, and eke the 7 precious gems, and foreigners from many lands. A prosperous city of the gods, full of good works and holy men. Within this town of Amara, Sumedha lived of Brahmin caste, who many tens of millions had, and grain and treasure in full store. A student he, and wise in spells, a master of the Vedas 3, he fortunes told, tradition knew, in every dust of his caste. In secret then I sat me down, and thus to ponder I began, what misery to be born again, and have the flesh dissolve at death, subject to birth, old age, disease, extinction will I seek to find, where no decay is ever known, nor death, but all security. What if I now should rid me of this body foul, this charnel house? go my way without a care, or least regret for things behind. There must be an escape. Impossible there should not be. I'll make the search and find the way, which from existence shall release. Even as although their misery is, yet happiness is also found, so though indeed existence is and non-existence should be sought. Even as, although there may be heat, yet grateful cold is also found, so, though the threefold fire exists, likewise, nirvana should be sought. Even as, although there evil is, that which is good is also found, so, though 'tis true that birth exists, that which is not birth should be sought. Even as a man befouled with dung, seeing a briming lake at hand, and nathless bathing not therein, where senseless should be chide the lake, so, when nirvana's lake exists, to wash away corruption's stain, should I not seek to bathe therein, I might not then nirvana chide. Even as a man hemmed in by foes, seeing a certain safe escape, and nathless seeking not to flee, might not the blameless pathway chide. So when my passions hem me in, and yet a way to bliss exists, should I not seek to follow it, that way of bliss I might not chide? Even as a man, who sore diseased, when a physician may be had, should fail to send to have him come, might the physician then not chide? So when diseased with passion, sore oppressed, I seek the master not, whose ghostly counsel me might cure. The blame should not on him be laid, even as a man might rid him of a horrid corpse bound to his neck, then upon his way proceed, joyous and free and unconstrained. So must I likewise rid me of this body foul, this charnel house, go my way without a care or least regret for things behind. As men and women rid them of their dung upon the refuse heap, and go their ways without a care or least regret for what they leave, so will I likewise rid me of this body foul, this charnel house, and go my way as if I had cast out my filth into the draught, even as the owners leave and quit a worn-out, shattered, leaky ship. Go their ways without a care, or least regret for what they leave, so will I likewise rid me of this nine-holed, ever-trickling frame, go my way as owners do, whose ship disrupted leave behind, even as a man who treasures bears, finds him in robber gang, will quickly flee and rid him of the robbers, lest they steal his gold. So, to a mighty robber might be likened well this body's frame. I'll cast it off and go my way, lest of my welfare I be robbed. Thus thinking, I, on rich and poor, all that I had in alms bestowed, hundreds of millions spent I then, and made to Himavant my way. Not far away from Himavant, there was a hill named Damaka, and here I made the patterned well, a hermitage and hut of leaves. A walking place I then laid out, exempted from the 5 defects, and having all the virtues 8. And there I gained the 6 high powers. Then ceased I cloaks of cloth to wear, for cloaks possess the 9 defects, and girded on a barken dress, which is with virtues 12 endued. My hut of leaves I then forsook, so crowded with the 8 defects. Native gloss. Exempted from, this is the subnote, exempted from the 5 defects. The following are the 5 defects in a walking place: hardness and unevenness, trees in the midst, dense underbrush, excessive narrowness, excessive width, and having all the eight virtues, having the eight advantages for a monk. The following are the eight advantages for a monk. It admits no storing up of treasure or grain. It favors only a blameless alms seeking. There one can eat his alms in peace and quiet. There no annoyance is experienced from the reigning families when they oppress the kingdom with the levies of the precious metals or of leaden money. No passionate desire arises for furniture and implements. There is no fear of being plundered by robbers. No intimacies are formed with kings and courtiers, and one is not just, and one is not shut in any of the four directions. For cloaks possess the nine defects. For one who retires from the world takes up the life of an anchorite. There are nine defects inherent in garments of cloth. The great cost is one defect. The fact that it is got by dependence on others is another. The fact that it is easily soiled by use in another. For when it has been soiled, it must be washed and dyed. The fact that when it is much worn, it must needs be patched and mended in another. The difficulty of obtaining who has retired from the world is another. Its acceptableness to one's enemies is another, for it must needs be guarded lest the enemy take it. The danger that it may be worn for ornament is another. The temptation it affords to load oneself down with it. My hut of leaves I then forsook, so crowded with eight defects, for there are eight evils connected with the use of a leaf hut. The great labor involved in searching for materials and in putting them together is one evil. The constant care necessary to replace. Holy crap, this is going to go on forever. Can you believe all this? The 12 advantages of wearing leaves as your dress. It never ends. Okay, I don't know if I want to continue on. It goes on and on and on and on. So this is the story of Sumedha. And this entire story is related by the Buddha to his disciples, described how in his long existence as the Brahmin Sumedha, he first resolved to strive for the Buddhaship. In stanzas 4 through 5, he speaks of himself, that is, of Sumedha, in the third person, but elsewhere in the first. Only 6 of the 10 noises that indicative of a flourishing town are here mentioned for the complete list. It's kind of interesting. Many people might call themselves Buddhists, but I bet you they've never even read this. And also, this predates Jesus, so it makes me think that this information was probably circulated, and thus, we get more of it in a different version from Jesus. We could read a little more, but I'm going to take a break from that. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed. We're going to go back to the Dhammapada, which is more writings of the Buddha.
Neither praise nor blame moves the wise man. He is clarity. Hearing the truth, he is like a lake, pure and tranquil and deep. Want nothing. Where there is desire, say nothing. Happiness or sorrow, whatever befalls you, walk on, untouched, unattached. Do not ask for family or power or wealth, either for yourself or for another. Can a wise man wish to rise unjustly? Few cross over the river. Most are stranded on this side. On the river bank, they run up and down. But the wise man, following the way, crosses over beyond the reach of death. He leaves the dark way for the way of light. He leaves his home, seeking happiness on the hard road. Free from desire, from possessions, free from the dark places of the heart, free from attachment and appetite, following the 7 lights of awakening, and rejoicing greatly in his freedom. In this world, the wise man becomes himself a light, pure, shining, free.
Could we use your house to trial our 24-hour bathroom upgrade system? We're looking for homeowners
master finds freedom from desire and sorrow, freedom without bounds. Those who awaken never rest in one place. Like swans they rise and leave the lake. In the air they rise and fly an invisible course, gathering nothing, storing nothing. Their food is knowledge. Master, such is his purity. Like a bird he rises on the limitless air and flies an invisible course. He wishes for nothing. His food is knowledge. He lives upon emptiness. Even the gods admire him. Yielding like the earth, joyous and clear like the lake, still as the stone at the door, he is free from life and death. His thoughts are still, free. The master surrenders his beliefs. He sees beyond the end and the beginning. There is great joy. Even in the empty forest, he finds joy because he wants nothing. The thousands. Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace. Better than 1,000 hollow verses is one verse that brings peace. Better than 100 hollow lines is one line of the law bringing peace. It is better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. Then the victory is yours. It cannot be taken from you, not by angels or by demons. Have one moment's reverence for the man who has conquered himself. To revere such a master old in virtue and holiness, is to have victory over life itself and beauty, strength and happiness. Better than 100 years of mischief is one day spent in contemplation. Better than 100 years of ignorance is one day spent in reflection. Better than 100 years of idleness is one day spent in determination. Better to live one day wondering how all things arise and pass away. Better to live 1 hour seeing the one life beyond the way. Better to live one moment in the moment of the way beyond the way. Mischief. Be quick to do good. If you are slow, the mind, delighting in mischief, will catch you. Turn away from mischief again and again. Turn away before sorrow befalls you. Set your heart on doing good. Do it over. As the rich merchant with few servants shuns a dangerous road, and the man who loves life shuns poison, beware the danger. Hide from your own mischief. Not in the sky, nor in the midst of the ocean, nor deep in the mountains. Nowhere can you hide from your own death.
Kevin Anderson's writers and editors made a masterpiece out of my story and created a strong book proposal to go with it. Thanks to their expertise and Kevin Anderson's connections in the publishing industry, my proposal was put in front of an incredible team of literary agents who were able to get me a book deal with Bay Street, the HarperCollins imprint. I'm a real good time to read, and I know they can do the same for you.
Violence. All people never harm him, and when you leave this life, you too will find happiness. Never speak harsh words, for they will rebound upon you. Angry words hurt, and the hurt rebounds. Like a broken gong, be still, be silent. Know the stillness of freedom, where there is no more striving. Like herdsmen driving their cows into the fields, old age age and death will drive you before them. Eyes in hell, eyes in hell. He who goes naked with matted hair, mud bespattered, who fasts and sleeps on the ground and smears his body with ashes and sits in endless meditation, so long as he is not free from doubts, he will not find freedom. But he who lives purely and self-assured in quietness and virtue, who is without harm or hurt or blame, even wears fine clothes, so long as he also has faith, he is a true seeker. A noble horse rarely feels the touch of the whip. Who is there in this world as blameless? Then, like a noble horse, smart to the whip, burn and be swift, believe, meditate, see. Be harmless. Farmer channels water to his land. The fletcher whittles his arrows. The carpenter turns his wood. And the wood is on fire. And are you laughing? You are deep in the ageless. And so the pure instruct the pure. The ignorant man is an ox. He grows in size, not in wisdom. Vainly I sought the builder of my house through countless lives. I could not find him. How hard it is to tread life after life. But now I see you, O builder, and never again shall you build my house. I have snapped the rafters, split the ridgepole, and beaten out desire. Now my mind is free. There are no fish in the lake. The long-legged cranes stand in the water. Yourself. Love yourself and watch. Today, tomorrow, always. First, establish yourself in the way. Then teach, and so defeat sorrow. To straighten the crooked, you must first do a harder thing. Straighten yourself. You are your only master. Who else? Subdue yourself and discover your master. Willfully you have fed your own mischief. Soon it will crush you as the diamond crushes stone. By your own folly you will be brought as low as your worst enemy wishes. So the creeper chokes the tree. How hard it is to serve yourself. How easy to lose flowers. Mischief is yours, sorrow is yours, but virtue also is yours, and purity. You are the source of all purity and all impurity. No one purifies another. Never neglect your work for another's, however great his need. Your work is to discover your work, and then, with all your heart, to give yourself to it.
Now,
The
if you go
world.
to a place like Saudi Arabia or the
Do not
UAE or
live in the
Qatar,
world
if
of
I were to say,
distraction
God
and
damn
false
it, is that
dreams
trick?
outside
And a
the
police
law.
officer heard that, that is a
Arise
jailable
and
offense.
watch.
How dare you speak like
Follow
that?
the
in
way
public? You don't have
joyfully through this world
anything similar
and
to freedom
beyond.
of speech there. And, you know,
Follow
is
the
that
way of
necessary?
virtue.
Hold on. But is that
Follow the
necessarily
way
bad?
joyfully
You basically,
through
these
this
are bodies
world
where you have monarchs and
beyond.
there is no democracy.
Or
I
consider
can't say
the
it's
world
bad that you don't allow
a bubble, a mirage.
cursing in
See
public.
the
I
world
mean,
behind the cloud and shines. So the master comes out from behind his ignorance and shines. And fly to heaven. Swans rise and fly toward the sun. What magic! So do the pure conquer the words are lies. Where will your mischief end? The fool laughs at generosity. The miser cannot enter heaven. But the master finds joy in giving, and happiness is his reward. And more, for greater joys of heaven and of earth, greater still than dominion over all the worlds, is the joy of reaching the stream. The man who is awake, he is awake. The victory is his. He has conquered the world. How can he lose the way who is beyond the way? His eye is open, his foot is free. Who can follow after him? The world cannot reclaim him or leave. This is the simple teaching of the awakened. The rain could turn to gold, and still your thirst would not be slaked. Desire is unquenchable, or it ends in tears, even in heaven, in mountains, or in forests, in groves of afflicted. Live in joy, in peace, even among the trouble. Live in joy without possession like hatred, no sorrow like separation, no sickness like hunger, and no joy like the joy of freedom. Health, contentment, and trust are your greatest possessions, and freedom your greatest joy. Look within. Be still. Free from fear and attachment. Know the sweet joy of the way. How joyful to look upon the awakened and to keep company with the wise. How long the road to the man who travels with a fool, but whoever follows those who follow the way discovers, for they know how to work and forbear. Follow them as the moon follows the path of the stars. Pleasure. Do not let pleasure destroy. He is pure and sees. He speaks the truth and lives it. He does his own work. So he is admired and loved. With a determined mind and undesiring heart, he longs for freedom. He is called Udam Soto, he who goes upstream. When a traveler at last comes home from a far journey, with what gladness his family and his friends receive him. Even so shall your good deeds welcome you like friends, and with what rejoicing when you pass from this life to the next. Anger. Let go of anger. Let go of pride. When you are bound by nothing, you'll go beyond sorrow. Anger is like a chariot careering wildly. He who curbs his anger is the true charioteer. Others merely hold the reins. With gentleness, overcome anger. With generosity, overcome meanness. With truth, overcome deceit. Speak the truth. Give whatever you can. Never be angry. These 3 steps will lead you into the presence of the gods. The wise harm no one. They are masters of their bodies, and they go to the boundless country. They go beyond sorrow. Those who seek perfection keep watch by day and night. They blame you for being silent. They blame you when you talk too much and when you talk too little. Whatever you do, they blame you. The world always finds a way to praise and a way to blame. It always has, and it always will. But who dares blame the man whom the wise continually praise, whose life is virtuous and wise, who shines like a coin of pure gold? Even the gods praise him, even Brahma praises him. Beware of the anger of the body. Master the body, let it serve truth. Beware of the anger of the mouth. Master your words, let them serve truth. Beware of the anger of the mind. Master your thoughts, let them serve truth. The The wise have mastered body, word, and mind. They are the true masters. The messengers of death are at hand. You are to travel far away. What will you take with you? You are the lamp to lighten the way. Then hurry, hurry. When your light shines without impurity or desire, you will come into the boundless country.
From chaos to comfort. We're here for it all. Kind Thread.
Introducing the all-new Acrobat Studio. With back-to-school joy also comes with a million handouts. I'm not sweating it, and let me tell you why. Print PDF space with my wife, and now we personalized hub. Essential.
Okay, I'm going to read from the Dhammapada, which is what you've been listening to, just for a few minutes, and then I'm going to go back to sitting in the sun. Om. Mind is the forerunner of all actions. All deeds are led by mind, created by mind. If one speaks or acts with a corrupt mind, suffering follows. As the wheel follows the hoof of an ox pulling a cart. Mind is the forerunner of all actions. All deeds are led by mind, created by mind. If one speaks or acts with a serene mind, happiness follows. As surely as one's shadow, he abused me, mistreated me, defeated me, robbed me. Harboring such thoughts keeps hatred alive. He abused me, mistreated me, defeated me, robbed me. Releasing such thoughts banishes hatred for all time. Animosity does not eradicate animosity. Only by loving kindness is animosity dissolved. This law is ancient and eternal. Om. They put aside all quarrels. The one who lives for sensation, indulgent in eating, lazy and lacking in energy, the tempter Mara breaks. Just as the wind breaks a frail tree. Subnote Mara. In Buddhist scripture, Mara is a metaphor for temptations or passions personified, being neither male nor female, hence the use of tempter. The one who lives mindfully, senses under control, moderate in eating, devout, energetic, cannot be overthrown by Mara, just as the wind cannot shake a rocky mountain. The monk's robe does not in itself render one free from stain. If the one who wears that robe is lacking in self-control and honesty, he is unworthy of such a robe. Only one who is free from stain, well-disciplined, honest, and endowed with self-control is worthy of the monk's robe. Those who fail to distinguish the non-essential from the essential, and the essential from the non-essential, will, in feeding on wrong thoughts, fail to attain the essential. On the other hand, those who correctly perceive the essential as essential and the non-essential as non-essential will, in feeding on right thoughts, attain the essential. As rain pours through badly thatched houses, so does desire penetrate the undeveloped mind. As rain fails to pour through a well-thatched house, so does desire fail to penetrate the well-developed mind. For the doer of evil there is only grief, here as well as hereafter. In both states he experiences grief, seeing his own unwholesome acts. For the doer of good deeds there is rejoicing, here as well as hereafter. Joy and more joy are his, as he sees his own right action. The doer of evil reaps suffering, here and hereafter. In both states remembering, I have committed evil, not only here but hereafter. He experiences more suffering because he has gone to a state of suffering. The doer of good deeds reaps happiness, here and hereafter. In both states remembering, I have done good deeds, and there is more joy because he has gone to a blissful state. Careless person, quoting much of the scriptural text but not living it, cannot share the abundance of the holy life, just as the cowherd counting other people's cattle cannot taste the milk or ghee. Reciting a small portion of the scriptures, but putting it diligently into practice, letting go of passion, aggression, and confusion, revering the truth with a clear mind, and not clinging to anything, here or hereafter, brings the harvest of the holy life. Mindfulness is the path to immortality. Negligence is the path to death. The vigilant never die, whereas the negligent are the living dead. With this understanding, the wise, having developed a high degree of mindfulness, rejoice in mindfulness. Delighting in the domain of the noble ones. These awakened ones dedicated to meditation, striving actively and vigorously, attain nirvana, the ultimate security. The fame and fortune of the man who is vigorous, aware, unsullied, acting with consideration and restraint, become ever growing. The wise man, by vigor, mindfulness, restraint, self-control, creates for himself an island which no flood can submerge. The foolish, the unwise, surrender themselves to negligence, whereas the wise man protects mindfulness as his most valuable possession. Don't lose yourself in negligence. Don't lose yourself in sensuality. For it is the mindful and meditative man who will experience supreme happiness. When the enlightened man frees himself from careless behavior through mindfulness, free of sorrow, he gazes on the sorrowing masses, as one on the mountaintop gazes on the plain below, the mindful person among the mindless, the aware person among the unaware, surpasses the rest with his wisdom like a superb racehorse outstripping an old worn-out horse. By mindfulness did the Magavat, Lord of Two Realms, reach the position of authority among the gods. So vigilance is ever praised, and negligence ever disdained. A seeker concentrating on mindfulness advances like a fire, consuming the chains of bondage, both great and small. A monk or lay person, rejoicing in mindfulness, seeking the danger of negligence, cannot fall backwards and is close to nirvana. Hey, Concrete, I heard you talking in Chillism the other day. I was actually kind of impressed with what you were saying. I was enjoying it. But just for like 30 seconds or something. Maybe a minute. You had a good take on something. I don't remember what it was, but it was it was funny, actually. It's kind of funny. Okay, this is the third chapter of the Dhammapada. Just as an arrowsmith shapes an arrow to perfection with fire, so does the wise man shape his mind, which is fickle, unsteady, vulnerable, and erratic. Like a fish taken from the safety of its watery home and cast upon the dry land, so does this mind flutter, due to the lure of the tempter. Therefore one should leave the dominion of Mara. How good it is to rein the mind, which is unruly, capricious, rushing wherever it pleases. The mind so harnessed will bring one happiness. A wise man should pay attention to his mind, which is very difficult to perceive. It is extremely subtle and wanders wherever it pleases. The mind well guarded and controlled will bring him happiness. One who keeps a rein on the wandering mind, which strays far and wide, alone, bodiless, will be freed from the tyranny of the tempter. A man of fickle mind will never attain wisdom to its fullest, since he is ignorant of the Dhamma and has wavering faith. The fully conscious man is fearless. He has freed his mind of lust and anger. He has transcended both good and evil. Observe this body as fragile as an earthen vase, lie on the ground, lifeless and unconscious, cast aside like a useless log. A mind out of control will do more harm than two angry men engaged in combat. A well-directed mind creates more well-being than the wholesome actions of parents toward their children. Flowers. Who can truly see this earth, this body, this world of human beings, as well as the realm of gods? Who is able to distill the wisdom of the Dhamma as skillfully as a designer of garlands selects choice flowers? Sakha, trainee on the first stage of perfection, is able to grasp this earth, the human world, the dwellings of the unhappy ones, as well as the realm of the gods. He can bring forth the shining truth of the Dhamma, even as a skillful gardener selects choice flowers. See, this body is fragile and transient as foam. Know that it is an insubstantial as foam, and thereby destroy the tempter's flowery arrows. Put yourself beyond death's grasp, just as a raging flood sweeps away a sleeping village, so does death claim a man of distracted mind. As he continually seeks more and more of life's fleeting pleasures, death drowns the unsatisfied man, whose restless mind clutches for greater and greater pleasures. A monk should dwell and act in the village like a bee extracting honey from the flower, but leaving the color and fragrance intact. Pay no attention to harsh words uttered by others. Do not be concerned with what others have or have not done. Observe your own actions and inactions. Like a beautiful, brightly colored flower without fragrance is the well-spoken word without action. Like a beautiful, brightly colored flower full of fragrance is the well-spoken word and the deed that matches the word. A man born to this world should do many good deeds, as a garland maker makes garlands from a heap of flowers. The scent of flowers is carried no farther than the wind allows, neither the sandalwood, tiger, nor jasmine. But the fragrance of the deeds of good men spreads to the ends of the earth in all directions, regardless of the wind. The aroma of sandalwood, tiger, lotus, or vasiki is excellent. Superior to these is the fragrance of right action, right speech, and right way of earning one's living.
Your life is falling away. Death is at hand. Where will you rest on the way? What have you taken with you? You are the lamp to lighten the way. Then hurry, hurry. When your light shines purely, you will not be born, and you will not die. As a silversmith sifts dust from silver, remove your own impurities, little by little. Or, as iron is corroded by rust, your own mischief will consume you. Neglected, the sacred verses rust, for beauty rusts without use, and unrepaired the house falls into ruin, and the watch without vigilance fails. In this world and the next, there is impurity and impurity. When a woman lacks dignity, when a man lacks generosity, but the greatest impurity is ignorance. Free yourself from it. Be pure. Life is easy for the man who is without shame. Impudent as a crow, a vicious gossip, vain, meddlesome, dissolute. But life is hard for the man who quietly makes the way of perfection with purity, detachment, and vigor. He sees light. If you kill, lie, or steal, commit adultery, or drink, you dig up your own roots. And if you cannot master yourself, the harm you do turns against you grievously. You may give in the spirit of light, or as you please, but if you care how another man gives or how he withholds, you trouble your quietness endlessly. These envying roots, destroy them and enjoy a lasting quietness. There is no fire like passion. There are no chains like hate. Illusion is a net, desire a rushing river. How easy it is to see your brother's faults, how hard to face your own. You winnow his in the wind like chaff, but yours you hide like a cheat covering up an unlucky throw. Dwelling on your brother's fault multiplies your own. You are far from the end of your journey. The way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart. All things arise and pass away, but the awakened awake forever. Quietly consider what is right and what is wrong, receiving all opinions equally, without haste, wisely, loving, and fearless. For the mind talks, but the body knows. Gray hairs do not make a master. A man may grow old in vain. The true master lives in truth, in goodness and restraint, non-violence, moderation, and purity. Fine words or fine features cannot make a master out of a jealous and greedy man. Only when envy and selfishness are rooted out of him may he grow in beauty. A man may shave his head, but if he still lies and neglects his work, if he clings to desire and attachment, how can he fall away? The true seeker subdues all waywardness. He has submitted his nature to quietness. He is a true seeker, not because he begs, but because he follows the lawful way, holding back nothing, holding to nothing, beyond good and beyond evil, beyond the body and beyond the mind. Silence cannot make a master out of victory or joy. Oh, seeker, rely on nothing until you want nothing. Lies in detachment. The master has an open eye. This is the only way to the opening. Sorrow's shaft. I showed you the way. It is you who must make the effort. The masters only point the way. But if you meditate and follow the law, you will free yourself from desire. Everything arises and passes away. When you see this, you are above sorrow. This is the shining way. Existence is sorrow. Understand and go beyond sorrow. This is the way of brightness. Existence is illusion. Understand. Go beyond. This is the way of clarity. You are strong. You are young. It is time to arise. So arise, lest through irresolution and idleness, and he has to live life over again.
Long is the night to the sleepless, long is the road to the weary traveler, long is the cycle of rebirths to the unwise, who do not know the truth. Should a traveler fail to find a companion equal or better, rather than suffer the company of a fool, he should resolutely walk alone. I have children, I have wealth. These are empty claims of an unwise man. If he cannot call himself his own, how can he then claim children and wealth as his own? To the extent that a fool knows his foolishness, he may be deemed wise. A fool who considers himself wise is indeed a fool. A fool may associate with a wise man throughout his life and remain untouched by his wisdom, even as a spoon cannot taste the flavor. Behaves as if he were his own worst enemy, committing evil deeds that produce bitter fruit. It is wise to do things that bring regret and require repentance, to cause suffering for oneself and a weeping and a tearful face. It is wise to do things which do not require repentance, but bring joy and fulfillment, happiness and delight, until he feels the effect. The fool rejoices in his evil deed. When the action reaches fruition, the fool harvests nothing but grief. Though the fool may practice asceticism, eating a speck of food on the tip of a blade of grass, he is not worth 1/16 of the Arahant, the knower of the Dhamma. An evil deed does not produce its results at once. It smolders slowly like a fire covered by ashes and finally consumes its doer, the fool. The things a fool gains amount to nothing. Wholesome acts cannot bring him wholesome results. What a fool hungers for is false fame, authority, power over others, and generous offerings. He seeks recognition as a doer, a wielder of power, a knower of right and wrong. His craving and pride are insatiable. There is a path that leads to worldly gain, another road to nirvana. Let the seeker, the disciple of Buddha, embracing seclusion, take the path to wisdom and enlightenment. The wise. If someone sees an intelligent person who is skillfully able to point out shortcomings and give suitable reproof, let him cherish such a revealer of hidden treasures. Only good can come from such an association. Let the wise one guide, correct, and deter others from what is base and vile. He will be treasured by the good and spurned by the evil. Do not choose bad friends. Do not choose persons of low habits. Select good friends. Be discriminating. Choose the best. Whoever drinks deeply of Dhamma lives happily, with a peaceful mind. The wise man rejoices in the Dhamma, taught by the holy ones. Irrigators contain the flowing waters. Arrowsmiths fashion arrows. Carpenters shape wood to their design. Wise men mold their characters. As a solid rock stands firm in the wind, even so is a wise man unmoved by praise or blame. As a deep lake remains still and clear, so do wise men, listening to the teachings, attain a serene mind. The good certainly cling to nothing. They do not talk aimlessly, concerned with personal gains. The wise, the saintly, whether experiencing comfort or discomfort, show neither elation nor depression. Not for one's own or another's gain should one commit an evil deed, regardless of the desire for children, wealth, a kingdom, or any other kind of success. One should remain virtuous, wise, and righteous. The few cross over to the far shore. The many merely run back and forth fruitlessly along the side of the stream. But only those who follow the carefully taught law can cross to the other shore, beyond the grasp of death so hard to overcome. Let the wise man shun the cauldron of confusion and proceed on the path of light. Let him leave the comfort of home, forsaking sensual pleasures, freeing himself from all obstacles, delighting in seclusion, not an ordinary man's choice, and devote himself to cleansing the blemishes of the mind. Those who have carefully cultivated their minds in tune with the elements of enlightenment, who without grasping delight and detachment, cleansed of all corruption and therefore shining brightly, send forth brilliant light. Om, the Arahant. There is no burning for him who has completed the journey, who is free of sorrows and all else, and who has broken off all chains. The mindful put forth great effort. They do not remain content in the household life, but leave their homes behind just as swans leave a muddy lake. Arahants do not hoard. Take a right view of eating, focused on deliverance and avoid. They leave no trace, like the path of birds in the sky. He who is free from obsessions, eating simply, clear-headed, and focused on liberation, like a migrating bird, leaves no trace of a track in the sky. Even the gods delight in the presence of one who has freed himself from pride and mental obsessions, who has his senses under control, like horses trained by an expert trainer. Done with a round of rebirths, he is as accepting as the earth, as firm as a doorpost, placid as a pond, free of mud and dutiful. Whoever has reached a state of freedom through perfect wisdom, peaceful and unshakable, is nonviolent in his mind, his speech, his action. Whoever is in touch with the infinite, free of attachment, desireless, is the highest among men. Delightful is the place where the saints dwell, be it village or forest, cavern or open field. Delightful are forests where more worldly men find no joy, being free of the pull of desire. Saints who seek no worldly pleasures find delight in such places. Thousands. Single wise word bringing peace to the listener is worth more than 1,000 speeches full of empty words. Single verse full of meaning, bringing peace to the listener, is worth more than 1,000 verses full of empty words. One may recite 100 verses full of vain descriptions, but a single verse bringing peace to the listener is worth far more. One may conquer 1,000,000 men in a single battle. However, the greatest and best warrior conquers himself. Conquest of oneself is the greatest victory of all. Neither a god, nor a heavenly musician, nor a mischievous angel of the highest of the 6 heavenly abodes, the Paranimita heaven, where sensual pleasures prevail, can deprive the self-anguished, restrained person of victory. The honor paid to the one who has achieved self-mastery for one single instant is worth more than monthly offerings of 1,000 pieces of gold. Honoring the one who has achieved self-mastery for one single instant is worth more than living in the forest, tending the sacred fire for 100 years. Making offerings for glory and recognition is not 1/4 as worthy as honoring the upright. Whoever shows reverence and respect for the aged is rewarded fourfold with long life, beauty, happiness, and strength. Even a single day of a life lived virtuously and meditatively is worth more than 100 years lived wantonly and without discipline. A single day's life of a wise and contemplative man is worth more than 100 years lived wantonly and without discipline. A single day's life of one who puts out great effort is better than a life of 100 years lived in idleness and sluggishness. A single day's life lived by a man who grasps the impermanence of all conditioned things is worth more than 100 years lived in blindness and ignorance. A single day's life of one who sees the deathless state is worth more than 100 years lived without perceiving it. A single day's life of one who sees the truth is worth more than 100 years of not seeing the truth. This is Peter. Let him not be addicted to evil, for it is the amassing of evil that brings misery. On the other hand, if a man does good, let him do it repeatedly. Let him put his heart into it, for the accumulation of good brings blessings. Even an evildoer feels happy before his negative actions reach fruition. However, when the evil ripens, he will have a bountiful harvest of evil results. A good man sees what is unwholesome before his good deeds reach fruition. However, when the good ripens, he will have a bountiful harvest of good results. Don't underestimate evil, saying, "It can't happen to me." As a pot slowly fills up with water drop by drop, so does the fool little by little become full of evil. Don't underestimate good, saying, "It can't happen to me." Water falling drop by drop will fill even a large pot. Likewise, the wise man, accumulating good little by little, becomes goodness itself. One should shun all evil as a merchant with treasure and a small caravan avoids a dangerous road, or as a man loving life shuns poison. If a man has a hand free of wounds, he can take poison in his hand. The poison cannot penetrate the hand that is free of wounds. Likewise, a man is not guilty when he acts with no evil intention. If someone harms an innocent person, one pure and free of guilt, evil results will fall upon the doer, like fine dust thrown against the wind. Some are reborn in a mother's womb. The evil doers are bound to miserable states. The doers of good are reborn to happy states. Those free of any stain go on to perfect peace. There is no place in the world, neither the sky, the sea, nor in mountain crevices, where an evil doer can hide, safe from the consequences of his action. There is no place in the world, neither in the sky, the sea, nor in mountain crevices, where one can escape the inevitability of death.
My own mind used to wander wherever pleasure or desire or lust led it, but now I have it tamed. I guide it as the keeper guides the wild elephant. Awake, be the witness of your thoughts. The elephant hauls himself from the mud. In the same way, drag yourself out of your sloth. If the traveler can find a virtuous and wise companion, let him go with him joyfully and overcome the dangers of the way. But if you cannot find friend or master to go with you, travel on alone, like a king who has given away his kingdom, like an elephant in the forest. Travel on alone, rather than with a fool for company. Do not.
Okay, this is chapter 10, the rod. Everybody fears being struck by a rod. Everybody fears death. Therefore, knowing this feeling for others as for yourself, do not kill others or cause others to kill. Everybody fears being struck by a rod, life being dear to all. Therefore, knowing this feeling for others as for yourself, do not kill others or cause others to kill. If one pursuing happiness strikes living beings who also strive to live happily with a rod or other instrument, he will reap an unwholesome harvest. If one pursues his own happiness while causing no harm to other living beings who also strive to live happily, he will reap a wholesome harvest. Avoid harsh speech. Angry words backfire upon the speaker. By making yourself as still as a cracked cymbal, not retaliating, you achieve nirvana. As a cowherd leads the cattle to pasture, so do old age and death drive the life of all beings. The fool committing evil deeds realizes not their nature. The fool, due to his evil deeds, suffers as if scorched by fire. He who inflicts pain on the innocent comes to one of 10 calamities: pain, loss, injury, illness, insanity, danger from rulers, frightening accusations, loss of loved ones, loss of wealth. One of these will he experience. Fire will destroy his house after the destruction of his body. The same foolish man will go to an unhappy state, though he does penance through nakedness, with tangled hair covering body with mud, fasting, rubbing himself with ash, crouching in a posture of humility. None of these rites can purify a man who has not freed himself of doubt, regardless of attire or adornment. The guiltless one, calm, self-restrained, chaste and resolute, refraining totally from hurting living beings, is the Brahmin, the recluse, the monk. It is the rare being who is restrained by self-direction, who does not invite reproof, as a good horse does not invite the whip. Be like a good horse, touched gently by the whip. The horse moves forward with full power and energy. Have an abundance of confidence, good conduct, effort, concentration, be aware and attentive. Put aside this great mass of suffering. Those who would irrigate the land bring the water wherever they choose. Arrowsmiths fashion arrows, carpenters shape wood, the virtuous mold themselves.
Carry with you your mistakes. Do not carry your cares. Travel on alone, like an elephant in the forest. To have friends in need is sweet, and to share happiness, and to have done something good before leaving this life is sweet, and to let go of sorrow. To be a mother is sweet, and a father. It is sweet to live arduously, and to master yourself. Oh, how sweet it is to enjoy life living in honesty and strength. And wisdom is sweet, and freedom.
Being diagnosed with leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, or any other type of blood cancer makes people want more time to do the things they love. That means more time to be movie buffs, athletes, jazz collectors,
Desire. If you sleep, desire grows in you, like a vine in the forest. Like a monkey in the forest, you jump from tree to tree, never finding the fruit. From life to life, never finding peace. If you are filled with desire, your sorrows swell like the grass after the rain. But if you subdue desire, your sorrows fall from you like drops of water from a lotus flower. This is good counsel, and it is for everyone. As the grass is cleared for the fresh root, cut down desire, lest death after death crush you, as a river crushes the helpless reeds. For if the roots hold firm, a felled tree grows up again. If desires are not uprooted, sorrows grow again in you. 30 streams are rushing toward you, desire and pleasure and lust. Play in your imagination with them, and they will sweep you away. Powerful streams, they flow everywhere. Strong vine, if you see it spring up, take care. Pull it out by the roots everywhere. You float upon them and are carried from life to life. Like a hunted hare you run, the pursuer of desire, pursued, harried from life to life. O seeker, give up this. You have come out of the hollow into the clearing. The clearing is empty. Why do you rush back into the hollow? Desires you, nor rope nor wood, but the pleasure you take in gold and jewels and sons and wives. Soft fetters, lighter, stick to your web, or else abandon your sorrows for the way. Abandon yesterday and tomorrow and today. Cross over to the farther shore, beyond life and death. Do your thoughts trouble you? Does passion disturb you? Beware of thirstiness, lest your wishes become this. Nothing binds you. You are free. You are strong. You have come to the end, free from passion and desire. You have stripped the thorns from the stem. This is your last body. You are wise. You are free from desire, and you understand words and the stitching together of words, and you want nothing. Victory is mine, knowledge is mine, and all purity, all surrender. I want nothing. I am free. I found my way. Whom shall I call teacher? The gift of truth is beyond giving, the taste beyond sweetness, the joy beyond joy. The end of desire is the end of sorrow. The fool is his own enemy. Seeking wealth, he destroys himself. Seek, master your senses, what you taste and smell, what you see, what you hear. In all things, be a master of what you do and your feet, of your words and your thoughts. Delight in meditation and in solitude. Compose yourself. Be happy. You are a seeker. Hold your tongue. Do not exalt yourself, but lighten the way, for your words are sweet. Follow the truth of the way. Reflect upon it. Make it your own. Live it. It will always sustain you. Do not turn away what is given you, nor reach out for what is given to others, lest you disturb your quietness. Give thanks for what has been given you, however little. Be pure. Never falter. You have no name and no form. Why miss what you do not have? The seeker is not sorry. Love the boat. Lighten the load. Passion and desire and hatred, and sail swiftly. For the seeker is called O Gati Nati, he who has crossed over. Seeker, do not be reckless. Meditate constantly, or you will swallow fire and cry out no more. How will you become free? With a quiet mind, come into that empty house, your heart, and feel the joy of the way beyond the world. Look within, the rising and the falling. What happiness! How sweet to be free! It is the beginning of life, of mastery and patience, of good friends along the way, of a pure and active life. So, live in love. Do your work. Make an end of your sorrows. Or see how the jasmine releases and lets fall its withered flowers. Let fall willfulness and hatred. Quieten your body. Quieten your mind. You want nothing. Your words are still. You are still. By your own efforts, waken yourself. Watch yourself. And live joyfully. You are the master. You are the refuge. As a merchant breaks in a fine horse, master yourself. How gladly you follow the words of the awakened, how quietly, how surely you approach the happy country, the heart of stillness. However young, the seeker who sets out upon the true master, wanting nothing with all your heart, stop the stream. When the world dissolves, everything becomes clear. Go beyond this way or that way to the farther shore, where the world dissolves and everything becomes clear. Beyond this shore and the farther shore, beyond the beyond, where there is no beginning, no end, without fear, go. Meditate. Live purely. Be quiet. Do your work with mastery. By day the sun shines and the warrior in his armor shines. By night the moon shines and the master shines in meditation. But day and night the man who is awake shines in the radiance of the spirit. The master gives up mischief. He is serene. He leaves everything behind him. He does not take offense and he does not give it. He never returns evil for evil. Alas for the man who raises his hand against another, and even more for him who returns the blow. Resist the pleasures of life and the desire to hurt till sorrows vanish. Never offend by what you think or say or do. Honor the man who is awake and shows you the way. Honor the fire of his sacrifice. Matted hair or family or caste do not make a master, but the truth and goodness with which he is blessed. Your hair is tangled and you sit on a deerskin. What folly, when inside you are ragged with lust. The master's clothes are in tatters. His veins stand out. He is wasting away. Alone in the forest, he sits and meditates. A man is not born hours of sleep and awake. The master endures insults and ill treatment without end. This body is my last, he says. Like water on the leaf of a lotus flower, or a mustard seed on the point of a needle, he does not cling, for he has reached the end of sorrow and has laid down his burden. He looks deeply into things and sees their nature. He discriminates and reaches the end of the way. He does not linger with those who have a home, nor with those who stray. Wanting nothing, he travels on alone. He hurts nothing, he never kills. He moves with love among the unloving, with peace and detachment among the hungry and querulous. Time, he is pure and free. How clear in time, he is pure and free. How clear he is the moon, he is serene, he shines. For he has traveled life after life the muddy and treacherous road of illusion. He does not tremble or grasp or hesitate. He has found peace. Calmly, he lets go of life. Nothing can hold him. Nothing in all creation can hold him. Desire has left him, never to return. Sorrow has left him, never to return. He is calm. In him the seed of renewing life has been consumed. He has conquered all the inner worlds. With dispassionate eye he sees everywhere the falling and the uprising. And with great gladness he knows that he has finished. He has woken from his sleep. And the way he has taken is hidden from men, even from spirits and gods, by virtue of his purity. In him there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no today. Possessing nothing, wanting nothing, He is full of power, fearless, wise, exalted. He has vanquished all things. He sees by virtue of his purity. He has come to the end of the way, over the river of his many lives, his many deaths, beyond the sorrow of hell, beyond the great joy of heaven, by virtue of his purity. He has come to the end of the way. All that he had to do, he has done. And now, he is one. And afterward, written and read by Jacob Needleman. Buddhism was born in India. In its beginnings, it conceived of itself, not as a new religion, but as a reconstitution of what is essential in the vastness of the Hindu tradition. Taken as a whole, the Hindu religion can be likened to an Olympian armed campaign, with great generals dispersed abroad, their huge armies and infinitely variegated weaponry converging upon the enemy, the ego, under some divinely conceived master strategy.
Look at this, called Old Age. Can there be joy and laughter when always the world is ablaze, shrouded in darkness? Should you not seek light? Look at the body adorned, a mass of wounds draped upon a heap of bones, a sickly thing, the subject of sensual thoughts. Neither permanent nor enduring, the body wears out, a nest of disease, fragile, disintegrating, ending in death. What delight is there in seeing the bleached bones like gourds thrown away, dried and scattered in the autumn sun? A citadel is this structure of bones, of blood and flesh, within which dwell decay, death, conceit, and malice. The royal chariots surely come to decay, just as the body too comes to decay. But the shining truth and loving kindness lives on. So speak the virtuous to the virtuous. The unwise person grows large in body. Though he becomes large physically, his mind remains small. How many lives, how many rounds of rebirth have I experienced without finding the builder of this house? Now I see you, O builder. All of your rafters are broken. Your ridgepole is shattered. Never again need you build a house for me. My mind has gone beyond the transitory, the conditioned, and has achieved the extinction of craving. Those who do not find their way to a higher life, or who fail to earn wealth during their youth, look back with regret in their old age. Like large old wading birds beside a dried pond, having attained neither the higher life of the seeker, nor having acquired wealth and power in their youth, they lie like spent arrows that have missed their mark, bewailing the misspent past. Om. Self. If a man holds himself in high esteem, let him be vigilant. A careful observer, day and night, during any of the 3 watches of life. First, one must establish one's own high moral principles, then preach to others. Very difficult it is to restrain oneself. Let one mold himself in accordance with the precepts he teaches. There can be no gap in credibility and no disgrace. Only the self shelters the self. What shelter could there be outside the self? With oneself thoroughly tamed, one gains a shelter rare, as a diamond bores a softer gem. So does the evil committed by a fool crush the doer, as a strangling vine chokes a tree. So does a person's unwholesome action destroy him, to the delight of his enemy. Unwholesome action, hurting self, comes easily. Wholesome action, healing self, takes effort. A foolish man clings to wrong views, mocks the teachings of the righteous. Such a person reaps what he sows, inviting ruin and destruction, like the fruit-bearing bamboo tree. By oneself is evil done. By oneself is one made impure. By oneself is evil undone. By oneself is one made pure. Each one is responsible for purity and impurity. No one can cleanse another. One should not neglect one's own moral good for the sake of another's. Learn first before teaching another's. Let each one embrace his own truth and devote himself to its fulfillment. Om. This is called the world. Do not follow low practices. Do not live carelessly. Do not hold wrong views. Do not prolong the suffering of the world. Lift yourself up. Be attentive. Act virtuously. One who does good deeds lives happily, both in this life and the life to come. Act righteously. Refuse to do otherwise. One who follows this path lives happily, both in this life and the life to come. Perceive the world as a bubble. Perceive the world as a mirage. If you see the world in this way, you render the Lord of Death powerless. Look at the body as a royal chariot, to which the ignorant cling while the wise let go. Whoever moves from carelessness to vigilance lights up the world like the moon that emerges from a cloud. Whoever overcomes his unwholesome deeds with wholesome actions illuminates the world like the moon emerging from a cloud. There is blindness all around. Only very few can see. Many are like birds trapped in a net. Only few escape and achieve liberation. Swans fly in the sky. Those possessed of psychic powers glide through the air. The wise, conquering self, proceed to nirvana. A man who violates even one spiritual law, who is dishonest in telling lies, unconcerned with the life hereafter, there is no evil such a one dares not do. Those closed off from generosity do not enter the realm of gods. Fools do not praise generosity. The wise rejoice in generosity, and by that will be heckled.
So appears upon the Indian scene as a direct, hand-to-hand attack with no holds barred, striking instantly and mercilessly at the enemy's weakest point. By and large, Buddhism has retained this quality of one-pointed practice entirely of Hinduism. Put succinctly, the Buddha, who is understood to have lived and taught in the 6th century BC, that there is such a thing as a self or ego that nature that abides from moment to moment. In the endless and rigorously determined chain of cause and effect that constantly aggregate, either within ourself or external to ourself. Therein is the root of thought, feeling, perception, sensation, pleasure, and pain. Is not a being, but a passion, not an activity, but only a sequence of reactions in which we, who have no power to be either as or when we will, are fatally involved. Individuality is motivated by and perpetuated by wanting, and the cause of all wanting is ignorance. For we ignore that the objects of our desire can never be possessed in any real sense of the word, ignore that even when we have got what we want, we still want to keep it, and are still in the state of desire. The ignorance meant is of things as they really are, and the consequent attribution. But if there is any general view,
as opposed to the dereliction of duty or just like negligence on the police, not the privileging of like Asian rape gangs. That if certain things will start hearing and talk like that. Does that make sense?
Are included, which, by the way, from Alaska, you can see Russia from your backyard. Nearly a year after the 2024 election, while personal stress levels hover around 5 on a scale of 1 to 10 on average, collective anxiety about the nation's direction has reached a troubling height. 75%, that's 3 of 4. That means everyone on this stage, or many people on this stage, the majority of us, I think we're normal. It has held steady since before the 2024 election, when it stood at 77%. So we're down a point. The persistence of this anxiety, regardless of which party controls the White House or Congress, suggests Americans are grappling with something deeper than 1%, while division landed at 36%. Hope and fear nearly tied at 35 and 32. Beyond abstract concerns, societal divisions hitting home in personal ways. 62% of Americans call it a significant stressor in their lives, and that stress feeling isolated from others. Compare that to just 43% among those not stressed by division. Similar gaps showed up for feeling left out, 57% versus 39%, and lacking companionship, 54% versus 54%. There's other stuff it sort of read out of the country. And again, these numbers are pre-Trump, right? So, maybe it would have gone down if Kamala would have won the election. Maybe it wouldn't have. We don't know. But it did go down 1 point. When Biden was in office, it was 77. Right now it's at 76. So who knows? Maybe he's making us 1% less stressed again. I don't know. But Marshall, let's go to you. Followed.
Probably don't feel like they have a place where like they can affect something. Part of that's due to the way the political system works, but part of that is trying to fix them. That's, unless it's for other reasons, that's giving up on the American experiment that we can all live together. I think I'm being a little judgy here about young people wanting to leave the country, but I think you stay and you fix it, and it's not like we're in Mussolini's Italy or Pol Pot's Cambodia. We have options, and people can avail themselves of those options. I think a feeling of isolation, I think a feeling of things not working correctly creates general angst. And that general angst, I think, affects young people. Growing up around computers in a way that millennials did not has made young people, I think, their minds are a little...
Kids, their friends, my nieces and nephews all across the country, kids of friends, and I think there's The data would support. I think a big part of it is also this. It's not only perception, but it is reality. So the perception is that the previous generations had it actually much better than the current generation. And a lot of it is economic pressure. When you think about student debt, if someone did go to college and took on debt, combined with the cost of living with rental properties and many markets, it's actually more economic to own something, rent something. But if I can't save because I'm just loaded with debt, I kind of feel like I'm starting out in the beginning. Less about politics. I mean, clearly the critical thinking forum is very much politically focused, but the average rank and file American, they're not paying attention to the politics. A lot of them aren't. I think it's just the day-to-day survival of.
Wow, it's becoming weird, wild, and crazy and interesting. But he has said the problem with the country is affordability. That his kids, young people just don't imagine they could ever afford a house. Do you think this is one of the things that helped Mom Donnie up in New York? That so many people, New York, what less affordable city? Do you think this affordability thing has helped propel Mom Donnie to a national brand?
Again, not being a New Yorker, I was in the city a couple weeks ago, but so I'm only giving you my hypothesis, but based on what we do know about costs and the issues at hand, I wouldn't be surprised if it is a factor. Certainly, it's this